It's hard to fathom nowadays the idea of being a high school dropout like Peter. I'm going to be the next CEO, he boldly declares, dismissing the notion of becoming involved with someone from a less privileged background. These sentiments are frequently voiced by my younger sister's fiance's brother. Despite his disdain, my sister Nancy remains seemingly content, wearing a resilient smile. I'm Peter Pfizer, a 35-year-old man who, as he points out, only completed high school. I harbored dreams of graduating and perhaps attending college, just like those around me. However, harsh realities forced me to abandon my high school education to support Nancy. Raised in a fatherless household with financial struggles, our single mother did her best to make ends meet. Our daily meals often consisted of just potatoes. Life was bearable in our poverty with my dear sister and mother until high school. That's when my mother started using expensive cosmetics, disappearing late at night. I wish she'd spend that money on us. Then, during my freshman year, when Nancy was 5, my mother left us for another man and never returned. Our home was stripped of furniture and appliances, likely sold for money. Nancy was left alone, probably crying. I harbored fury and hatred, but those emotions didn't pay the bills. To ensure our survival, I worked tirelessly delivering newspapers before school and at a bar after school. Despite my efforts, we struggled, but I remained determined to make Nancy happy. I decided to end my high school life and seek employment, but finding a job with just a high school dropout was nearly impossible. Rejections became a daily routine until, one day, a stranger in a park offered me bread and a drink. After hearing my story, he offered me a job at a renowned luxury hotel, suggesting I bring Nancy along. Grateful and relieved, I accepted the offer. The next day marked the beginning of my first real job, a challenging experience filled with repeated greetings and various menial tasks. Yet, every day, I toiled to ensure Nancy's happiness. As I grew accustomed to my job, I began learning manners and proper conduct from scratch. Though I faced frequent scoldings, each one taught me valuable lessons. All my earnings went toward Nancy's well-being. When she started elementary school, I distinctly recall purchasing her a backpack, the first item I ever bought for her with my hard-earned money. She cherished it until it was worn out. During her time at the hotel, I observed a woman receiving a grand proposal with a bouquet of roses. Nancy expressed her desire to be someone who receives such tokens of love. Despite our limited resources, I bought her a single rose every year on her birthday. Beyond that, I diligently saved every penny for our living expenses. I managed our finances to ensure Nancy could choose any college she desired. Surprisingly, I found joy in my work while raising her. Fast forward 20 years. I'm still employed at the same hotel, while Nancy has graduated from college and turned 25. She expressed her desire to help people facing struggles similar to ours and became a public servant at City Hall's welfare department. Every day, she fought for those in need. One day, she approached me and said, "Peter, there's someone I want you to meet." Although I knew she had a boyfriend, I never asked, thinking it might be awkward. When I jokingly inquired, "Wow, are you getting married or something?" she responded with a sincere yes. Surprised and genuinely happy for her, I congratulated Nancy countless times. In front of her, I showered her with words of congratulations, masking the tinge of sadness that lingered. It felt like she had truly grown up, and I found myself navigating the complex emotions of a father sending off his daughter into matrimony. As she proudly displayed the engagement ring her boyfriend gave her, I couldn't help but wonder, is he wealthy? Curiosity overcoming me, I inquired about her fiancé. To my surprise, Nancy's response exceeded my expectations. Yes, he's the son of a company president, and they specialize in distributing food products. Interestingly, they also do business with our hotel. He has an older brother, so he won't be taking over the company. The revelation made sense, explaining how he could afford such an extravagant ring. Encouraged by the positive news, I offered, "What can I do to help? I've lived at this hotel, creating countless memories." I was wondering if I could have my wedding here. Touched by her growth, I assured her I would talk to Bob the next day. When I approached Bob about Nancy's desire to have her wedding at the hotel, he expressed genuine happiness. Of course, let's make it a wedding that Nancy will be delighted with, he declared. However, as the future loomed ahead, a sense of anxiety crept in. With no parents or relatives to rely on, I pondered how Nancy's fiance's family would perceive me, a high school dropout. The day arrived for the families to meet. As we gathered, Nancy's boyfriend, Sam Morrison, extended a warm greeting. Nice to meet you. I'm Nancy's boyfriend, Sam Morrison. I've heard a lot about you from Nancy. Sam struck me as an impressive young man, and my initial worries about being judged based on my background were dispelled. Despite his prestigious lineage as the son of a company president, Sam displayed admiration and respect toward me. Just as my relief settled in, Sam's brother, Richard, interjected with a pointed question. You are a high school dropout, right? Can't believe Sam is marrying into such a poor family. Upon our first meeting, Richard blurted out with a lack of tact that caught me off guard. Despite my surprise, I managed to reply, well, Nancy is working hard as a public servant, so please look after her. Pito. Nancy, what a pitiful life with a brother like him. Sam, you're lucky to have a brother like me, don't you think? Sam and Nancy attempted to smooth over the situation, but Richard's words pierced my heart like daggers. He continued, our family runs a company, you know. I guess a pool person like you wouldn't understand the significance. Even with the wedding, we're planning to invite our important clients, but having a pool person as a relative would lower our reputation. I was unfazed by his words, as long as Nancy was happy. However, he uttered the words I dreaded the most. I guess we can overlook Nancy since she's pretty, but I don't want to acknowledge you as family. You're just her brother after all. Don't come to the wedding. It's a celebration with our clients after all. A pool person like you should just stay home and celebrate your sister's new life. Do something brotherly for once. Even his parents managed only a forced smile, unsure how to react. Though I was seething inside, I chose not to retaliate, thinking it would only upset Nancy. Understood. I won't attend, I calmly declared. Hey, Peter, Nancy protested, but I quietly left the scene. Despite her multiple attempts to persuade me afterward, I stood firm in my decision. She pleaded, I want you there, Peter. I want you to see it, but my mind was made up. I didn't want her to feel bad on her big day. As an employee, I'll do my best to celebrate your new beginning, I assured her. She seemed unconvinced, but I held my ground. I could, at least, witness her shining moment as an employee, not as family. In the days leading up to the wedding, the owner Bob and my co-workers put immense effort into preparations. Bob crafted special dishes and cakes, while my co-workers, even after hours, handcrafted decorations. Watching their dedication, I felt a genuine happiness, thinking, all this for Nancy. On the wedding day, I celebrated Nancy as much as I could as an employee. I arranged a surprise by scattering her favorite rose petals during the newlyweds' entrance and decorated their seats with plenty of roses. That was all I could do. My coworkers kept asking, why aren't you attending? He's family. Each time, I smiled and replied, I'm an employee here. I have work to do. In my heart, I yearned to celebrate with her as family, but Nancy, despite being the bride, looked visibly unhappy. As the wedding festivities continued, I couldn't shake the feeling that Nancy must have wanted me there. Overhearing Richard's disdainful comment about it being refreshing not to have such a failure of a brother at the wedding stung, but I pressed on. During the toasts, as people began enjoying the meal and drinks, Richard's inappropriate behavior became increasingly noticeable. He drank heavily and demanded expensive wine, with a loud insistence for the next round. Whispers from those around us questioned his behavior, and then he started loudly disparaging me. Do you know why the bride's family isn't attending? She has no parents, and her brother is just a high school dropout. It's a miracle such a lovely girl came from that. I can't believe I'm eating food prepared by a high school dropout. But don't worry, our family will make her happy. She should forget about the Fisher family and take the Morrison name, he proclaimed. The other guests began whispering, expressing their disapproval. I felt close to snapping, but I reminded myself not to ruin Nancy's important day. Struggling with my emotions, I caught Nancy's sad eyes. I mouthed, "Nancy," silently to her. Recognizing my distress, she forced a smile, tears brimming in her eyes. As the moment for the last dance arrived, since her father wasn't present, she appointed me. Instead of dancing, she started reading a heartfelt message with her voice quivering. To my dear brother Peter, you gave up your high school life for me, working hard at this hotel, and Bob. Thank you for always supporting us and for making today so wonderful. Bob and my coworkers cheerfully listened to her speech. Nancy continued, "We had no parents, and I used to cry every day. But every time, my brother would be there, telling me to smile, Nancy. Thanks to him, I've lived a happy life, smiling every day. Without him, I couldn't have survived. Despite the challenges I faced, my brother always wished for my happiness." Finally breaking down in tears, Nancy expressed, "My brother has always been my greatest ally. Thanks to him, I've lived happily. Even eating potatoes every day is now a fond memory. I could attend the schools I wanted because of my wonderful brother. Thank you so much." As she wept, I held back my tears, feeling reassured that she would be happy with Sam. During her heartfelt speech, the room erupted in applause, and I felt an overwhelming sense of pride. The MC unexpectedly announced me as Nancy's beloved brother, and as I stood there, my face already a mess with tears and a runny nose, I tried to hide my emotions. Saying a simple thank you, the room showered me with applause and praise. It was a recognition I had never experienced before, and the whole venue was swept up in emotion. Suddenly, Richard, still drunk, approached the MC, and I prayed for him to stop. A quick-thinking coworker intervened, preventing him from causing further trouble. The MC diverted attention, saying, "Nancy's letter was beautiful. Truly, Peter Fisher is a reliable person for all of us here. Now let's present a special gift to the groom's brother. Please, this way." As they led Richard out, Sam looked embarrassed, but thanks to my coworker's quick thinking, Nancy's big day wasn't ruined. Richard left, and in his intoxicated state, he bumped into someone. He yelled, "Ouch. Watch where you're going." The person he bumped into was none other than our hotel's owner, Bob. Unaware of Bob's identity, Richard continued his disrespectful remarks, but Bob calmly revealed, "I run this hotel. We'll see about business with a company like yours." Panicking, Richard protested, but Bob sternly stated, "We will cease business dealings with you. Perhaps you should first properly guide your son." Bob returned to the venue, leaving Richard devastated. The next day, Richard, desperate and apologetic, clung to me, begging me to convince the owner to reconsider. However, I only said, "Please, just don't hurt Nancy," and returned to the venue. The owner, true to his word, refused to use ingredients from Richard's company. Sam and Nancy later visited the hotel to greet us, reporting that they had officially registered their marriage. Sam continued working at a major food company, as his family's company had gone bankrupt after losing business with our hotel. Despite Richard's disownment by his family and his current struggles, I contemplated helping him if he ever changed his ways. Nancy and Sam were living happily, participating in volunteering activities on weekends to support the needy. As for me, I was praised for my conduct at the wedding and past achievements. Bob even mentioned me as a potential candidate for the next owner. Regardless of the outcome, I was content just being called Peter and working in a job I enjoyed, surrounded by a respectable owner and trustworthy colleagues. I was genuinely happy.